to me. Running through the mud, no luck, that was never that kind of me. Honestly, seen a lot of things, so I never let a damn thing bother me. Calling me, hit me with the run around, little with a chopper, then we gun them down. That's no problem, G. All of these rappers not proud of cheat, they proud of me. Pull up, it's Mayday, she wanna fuck with my payday. My vision get hazy, roll up my piece and get lazy. It's just a yes or
I'm Grace from Disgraced Weekly. I'm here with Yn Drako. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, of course.
So it was just your 21st birthday?
Yeah, like 2 days ago.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, it feels great, finally able to get drinks at dinner.
Mm-hmm. Did you buy your first legal drink?
My girlfriend did, actually.
Oh.
That was her present to me for my birthday. Was she took me out on Glenwood, and we went to I think it was four or five different bars. We went to 4 or 5 different bars, just bar hopped. But the one that I liked the most was this bar called Wonderland. Mm-hmm. They brought me this it was $26 for one drink, and it was in this Poseidon statue of a head. And then it had 3 sunflowers in it and a little ducky. And
That's so fancy.
I know. I put the ducky in my pocket.
Was it one big, was it a big drink or was it a small drink?
It was huge. This thing was worth $26. It was the head of a statue that some college professor would have.
Yeah,
it was that.
One of those.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. I think I've heard of that place before. I've seen pictures, but I've never gone to.
They're really nice. They had a CBD infused drink. Which
Interesting.
I've never heard of that ever.
I've heard of it in other states. I feel like CBD infused coffee.
Yeah,
but not here.
Not in North Carolina. That's what I'm saying. I got that too, and I definitely felt that. I got that after the Poseidon one.
So, damn, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So, do you feel any different being 21?
Yeah, I think I told her right when I turned 21. She asked me, "Do you feel any different?" And I was like, "Yeah, I feel like I grew 2 inches." I feel like so much more of an adult, especially with how I've been living. Because like I was telling you before we started recording, I just moved out here 2 months ago. I'm just now getting my bearings. I'm not hiding anything. Before moving here, I was not financially stable at all, just because of my living situation and me DoorDashing every day. DoorDash was the best I could do. And at that time, but now I'm working at a really nice restaurant. I have a really good, well-paying job that's supporting me and the people that live in the house that I have. So I don't know. That already made me feel like I grew up a little bit. So the 21st birthday on top of that, I'm like, all right, yeah. Now I'm dad level.
Do you have any life advice that you'd want to share?
Oh man, don't let your ego get ahead of you, because that's what really held me back the longest. I was really scared to show that I worked. I really just tried to do music full time, because there was a time about 2 years ago where I made the jump to do music full time, and it worked for the first 3 months. But then after, I'd also just dropped a new album, my album Nocturnal. So 3 months after Nocturnal released, I started to go downhill. I stopped selling features. I needed money, but I was too big headed to be okay, I need to get a job. I need to move back to my hometown. I need to just try to get on my feet. And I stayed hard headed and lived in some bad situations for about a year. It set me back even more. Got in some legal trouble multiple times, and it just put more, barriers in my life and in my path. So it just got to the point where I was so in the trenches, and right after I met her, to where I was just all right, I need to buckle down. I need to, just work my ass off as much as I can these next few months and get stable, because I'm not going to be able to live like this. And I'm just now getting that from moving here. So just, like I said, don't let your ego get ahead of you.
Are you originally from here?
No, I'm from Winston-Salem. Trefo in the building. Yeah, always got to rep that.
Okay, did you grow up there?
Yeah. I grew up so my parents were divorced. My dad lived in Winston on the north side, and my mom lived in a small town that's outside of Winston called King. So I went to high school around the King area, and but I was back and forth between Winston 1 week and King 1 week. So that's why I kind of was back and forth. Yeah, growing up there was definitely, it was a mix of cultures, because King's very, there's just it's not a lot of people like Winston. Winston has a lot of criminal activity. I mean, every city does, but Winston's getting pretty bad with theirs. There's more shootings that happen in Winston than in King. King's a little bit more like quiet town. There's not much out there. It's more of like a small town. Mm-hmm. Winston is more of a city, but they're still so close to each other, you know. And Winston is still a beautiful city. I love the city that I'm from, but I just felt myself like getting like to my limit there, so that's why I kind of had to branch out and move away.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any positive memories from growing up there? Just anything?
Oh,
just
man.
Playing as a kid or?
Yeah, definitely the county fair. That was always my favorite. It came every September. It still comes every September, actually. And I used to always think it was fun because you would run into at least one of your friends from school every single night you went. Mm-hmm. So I would want to go every single night because I got them for free because my grandpa was the mayor of King. So, like, you know, I was also a member of the American Legion, and members of the Legion get in for free. So I was getting in free every year, so I wanted to go every single night. So I was going, meeting up with my friends, but then, you know, you get in high school and that starts to go away, and it's not what it used to be. Now I just go for the food. Oh, man.
Yeah, I remember I grew up outside of Tampa, a smaller town over there, and we had something called the Swamp Fest, and
What's that?
It was just a fair for, I think, we had 2 major high schools in our town, so it was a fair for both of them.
Oh, wow.
And that's where everybody went, you know, in high school and middle school, like, yeah, we're going to go meet at the Swamp Fest.
Yeah.
Now I don't think it's a thing anymore, or I think they renamed it or something, but.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. It's like everybody who is anybody in the town is there because it's such like a small town antic. When it's a small town, you know, everybody's going to be there. Mm-hmm. So
if you went back now, would you still see a lot of the people you knew?
A few people. I had like, my high school was really hard on me, but it was also very defying on me. Like, I got made fun of a lot in high school, but that also kind of gave me the drive to do what I do now. So, you know, it's not like something that I'm like hold a grudge against. Plus, like, I have no grudges against anyone at all. Like, that's not something I can live with emotionally. Mm-hmm. So, probably not, but there's definitely a few people from King that I still keep close with. My good friend Toby, I keep very close to him. He's been my best friend since middle school. He was actually with me at the Lecrae show that I got inspired to start making music at in 2017. So yeah.
So how was that? That was when you first got inspired. That was when you first got inspired to start making music? Yeah,
2017. Lecrae was on his All Things Work Together tour, and he came to the Underground in Charlotte, and I was just a 15, 16-year-old kid that was a big fan of that, you know, Christian rap scene. I was a huge fan of that. So I went to go see Lecrae, and he had 1K Few and Aha Gazelle opening for him, and that's where I got introduced to Aha Gazelle, which is where I actually get inspired a lot of my sound from, is how he sounds. So I got really inspired through him, and that was all in that one show. So I was just standing there in more towards the back, and I think he performed his song Worth It, and on that song, like, people who didn't even know each other just started putting their arms around each other, and, like, you know, people were crying, but these people didn't know each other, you know. But the fact that one song did that, everyone knew the lyrics, you know, but no one knew each other. So it's almost like a universal communication. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wanna do something that creates this for other people. I wanna create this feeling for others. And I made my first mixtape, and it was ass. It was terrible. It was really bad. Probably the worst thing I've ever made in my life. But
the same sound that you have now, or is it completely like you didn't know who you were?
No, it was recorded off my iPhone 6 on an app that doesn't even exist anymore called Rap Chat, where you just did like minute-long freestyles, and it was just on your iPhone microphone, like nothing other than a voice memo. So, yeah, but it led to everything, you know. It led to me meeting Unseen, and, you know, me meeting Munch and Grizzy and all them, and, you know, doing what I did in Winston and what I'm still trying to do in North Carolina.
So you dropped an album kind of recently.
Yeah, I did. I'm very proud of that one.
Yeah, I was a big fan of that one.
Thank you.
I've been listening to it a lot recently, especially before, you know, the interview. And, yeah, there's no skips on it. And I feel like you'd think with your sound that it might get repetitive or, something like that, or you get tired of it, but it doesn't. You're able to switch it up. You get, you had great features on it.
Yeah,
it was really
the features took me the longest. Yeah.
What was the process like, just creating the whole thing?
Oh man, Kamikaze was at first so many different things, but it started off as I was very down on my luck financially, and that was a big album to put up financially because of the features that I had on it. So I was like working my ass off, door dashing every single day, like door dashing until I had $200 a day, another 200 the next day, which is like over 10 hours of dashing. I ruined my car because of it. So I was just working so hard, and I was not mentally happy. So I was like, okay, like I know what I need now, because I never had done an EPK for a release, which if you don't know what an EPK is, artists, you need to know what that is. It's electronic press kit. So I'd never like made or gotten an EPK for any one of my releases. I'd never sent it off to playlisting or curators before a release. I'd never pitched it to Spotify 4 weeks prior to the release. I'd never done any of that. So I was like, this is the release that I'm putting all my money behind. I'm doing everything the right way. I like this. This has the potential to blow me up, and it still does. I'm still spending my budget on that album. So yeah, I just had to put that out there. Sorry, my ADHD gets me off. But so I started with the Loadout. Loadout was originally the Danny Towers feature for that album, and I was gonna build it around that, and that's what it started as. And there were so many. The original version of Kamikaze looked so much different. I had a song with Munch on there called Trust Issues, and I had another one with Apex called The End. And they're just so different. Like, one's a pop vibe, one's a summer vibe. Like, it was just gonna be a bunch of different genres. And I was like, no, like I don't want to. It made it sound like a mixtape, the overall product. So I went back to the drawing board. So it pushed back the release for like 6 months, and I just completely revamped the entire project. And I was like, okay, I need one song, and I need to build the entire album around the vibe of this song. And then I got a song from my boy Apex 3400. Called Narcissist, and he's like, yeah, you gotta throw some shit on that. And I threw something on Narcissist, and I was like, this is what I want the album to be like. And if you've heard Narcissist, you know how it is, very techno. So I was like, I really like how this sounds. This is the sound for the project. Like, let's go, let's run it. Then I made Action a week later with Top Hill Fredo. That took a long time to get, but I'm glad that song came out how it did. That song has so many different versions, but I love how we made that sound. Then came Bone Crusher with Danny Towers. I got that feature. I got that feature from him after I met them, and because I met him in DJ Scheme, and after I got that feature, like 2-3 months after that, but I couldn't use the beat that was originally on it because Danny didn't make the beat for it. So I had to, pull his vocals off of that, send it to my producer, be like, "Yo, man, you want a Danny Towers placement? Like, I need a beat, and I wanted to sound like this." I sent him Narcissist and was like, "This is the vibe." So he matched Bone Crusher to the vibe of Narcissist, and it just helped the album connect even more. Then once that starts happening, the dots just connect. You're like, okay, well, this song sounds good. Then Mixed Emotions was like, it was still in the aspect of techno, but it was different. It was more like a 2008 Kanye. Like, that's what I kept thinking for Mixed Emotions. So like,
that was the one I made note of earlier today. I was like, I like this one a lot.
Yeah,
I hadn't noticed it before.
It's such a throw it off. It's a throw off, but it's also the same vibe. So and that was the goal. So it just all started falling into place right after I started having an outline of a sound I wanted. And then it got finished, and I released it, I think 2 months after I got the final mix back for Bone Crusher, because Bone Crusher was the last song that I got mixed, and Members was the last song I recorded. Members wasn't even on that album at all. I recorded Members like a week before I announced the album, and I was like, this is so good, I need to put it on the album. I was like, I sent it to my boy Peach, shout out Peach, over there in California, and I was like, dog, I need your verse on this in the next week. Like, I got to get this out. And he's like, I got you. And he sent it back within I think it was 4 days. So, yeah, I'm really proud of Kamikaze. I appreciate you bringing that one up.
Yeah, of course. So how did you decide on the name?
Oh yeah, I didn't even see. That's my ADHD kicking in right there, folks. You just witnessed it. I started telling that, yeah. I was, like I said, at the time I was very financially unstable though, and that was making my mental health very not the best. So I was gonna quit making music like entirely, but I was like, okay, if I'm gonna stop making music, I need my last project to be a big bang. I need it to go out in style. And a kamikaze is a World War II suicide bomber. And basically what these pilots would do is they would just get in their plane, and dying for their country was enough. And they had like explosives on their planes and all that, and would just suicide bomb like whatever their target was. So that's what I thought in my head I was doing to my career. I was like, I need to work. I need to focus. Like, I'm not mentally okay. I'm not financially okay. I feel like a bum. Like, I need to get my life together. So I just got to go out with a bang. And it was actually meeting Danny and Scheme, because I made half the project like before I met them. So it was already almost finished when I met them, and just spending like the 5-6 hours that I did with them, I was sitting there and I was like, man, I'm like only 20 years old right now. I'm around the music that made me, like Scheme, like the shit he was releasing when I was in high school was the shit I grew up on. So like the shit he produced, like I grew up on. So like it was just surreal being in the room with the people who just made me. That's when I was like, man, I'm so young and I'm around these people right now. Like, what am I thinking? Like, stopping now. Like, why would I stop right now when I'm here with them? And then I started asking, like, you know, what any artist would ask, like, just like, yeah, what do you think about Instagram and what, like, advice and all this? And I don't know. Scheme gave me really good advice on what Instagram was and the Reels thing, because this is before Reels were what Reels were. And he's like, yeah, man, like Reels is going to be something. And he was just talking about Reels and all that. And then like, I think it was like 3 months later, everyone started posting on Reels, and they started transferring their TikToks over to Reels. And then now Reels is what it is. I get more views on Reels than TikTok ever. TikTok's been dead for me. So
yeah, it's a hit or miss with me, with both of those. TikTok, yeah, I haven't, like, some of them, they'll get a lot of likes, but then that's it. Like, I don't get any follows from it. And then I still have, like...
You're like, what was the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. So that's why I was just like, man, I don't want to deal with this anymore. Like, because I was basing my worth off of how well I was doing. And, like, when you're an artist, you can't do that. Like, it'll destroy your mental health. So, so I recognized that, and I was putting myself over my music, which has been really hard for me to do over the course of my life, because I've been making music for like 6 years. So it was a big adult decision that I made. And but then just sitting with them, I was like, man, I can make this work. Like, look at what I'm doing. Like, why would I stop? And so I finished the album. Then I got Bone Crusher, like, I think a month or two after I met them. And then once I got Bone Crusher, I was like, oh, let's get him over. I'm not quitting, because I love Bone Crusher.
Yeah.
And then Call Me was the late add-on. I wish I would have put that on the album. That's why I released it as a single.
So how did you even end up meeting them?
Yeah. I think I told the story on another podcast, but then the episode got like accidentally like erased off the files. So like I don't think this story's actually been released. But I bought Loadout off Danny like I think 2.5 years ago, when as it was like his 2019 Rolling Loud performance, and I saw him on TV, and I grew up on some of his songs, so I was like, okay, cool, Danny Towers is performing Rolling Loud, I'll shout him out on my story, and he reposted it, and I was like, oh shit, Danny Towers reposted my story, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So I hit him up like, yo man, you know, definitely you killed that performance, hope everything's well with you, you know. Definitely think you'd fuck with what I got going on. Like, you know, check me out whenever you get the chance. I didn't say check me out whenever you get the chance. I just said, you know, we'll work one day. Something like that. Just trying to be a nice artist. And he actually hit me back fairly good amount of time, too. And it was like, yeah, man, totally. Just let me know your budget, blah, blah, blah. So we just talked a number, and then I paid that number, and then I got Loadout, like, I think it was a year later. It was a whole year, but it's only because I sent him a different song called Click to get on, which still hasn't released yet. I got Nevi on it instead. But yeah, I sent him Click, and then he just didn't do it. And I was like, hey man, if you got something, just send it to me. And he sent me Loadout. And then so I have to say that first, so you can understand that whole year long of waiting on the feature, I would hit him like once a month, and you know we would just have conversations through that. So he knew who I was through that. And then on top of that, he posted on his story that he was in Raleigh, and he's like, need a barber in Raleigh. And I know a really good barber. Shout out Ice Cuts. Ice Cuts has been my barber in Raleigh for the last 2-3 years. And he's really talented with it too. So I was like, oh, dude, I got a fire barber. So I swiped up. I was like, yo, I actually got a really good barber for you if you want to check him out. His name's Ice Cuts. I sent him his Instagram. He's like, oh, bro's fire. Like, how much would he do us for? And I asked him. He's like, oh, man, they're Danny Towers and Scheme? Nah, they got it for like $20. And he's like, Danny's like, oh, 20? That's cheap as hell. That's love, fam. That's love. Like, of course, slide through. And he sent the hotel that they were staying at, and we pulled up on them, and it was like a he said it was the worst hotel that they had on tour. This is when they were on the Grey Day tour last year with Suicide Boys. So it was like this empty ass parking lot of like a Holiday Inn. And I just pull in. I'm like, are we in the right place? Where the hell are we? And then we pull in, and it's just taking up like 20 parking spaces, a fat-ass gray tour bus. And it doesn't say anything on the side. It's just like a matte gray tour bus. I remember it being matte gray. And it was me and my barber that pulled up. And we just see Scheme hop out. And then Danny also follows, and then we go up to the hotel room, and he just does their hair. And we were there for like I think 6 hours, because he didn't just do Danny and Schemes. He did a few of like their tour people that they had. I don't know their names, but a few other people that were on the tour bus, he did their hair too. So he made some good money, and they, obviously they tipped him really well, and he was really appreciative of that. And it was just a good experience. And after we got done, giving them haircuts, we smoked on the tour bus, and we went our separate ways. It's like a celebratory blunt. And I will say right now, that is the best smoke circle I've ever been in. But if I don't remember, like I said, I smoke a lot. Okay, I think that's people that are fans of me know that. But like, if I remember correctly, they were smoking, like, I think they said they only smoked papers.
Damn.
Yeah, and it was just like it was a fat paper. Don't get me wrong, like it was rolled. But if I do remember correctly, I seen it. They were like, I tried to pass them a backwood, and I think one of them, it might have been like one of the DJs or something. They were like, nah, bro, we don't hit backwoods. But it is a lot on your lungs, though.
Yeah, I respect that they're being healthy, watching out for themselves.
Well, my boy Grizzly's been telling me I need to hop on, just papers for years, because it really is all the blunts and all that really are bad for your lungs with how much I smoke, especially. I need to make that switch over soon. She's been getting me good on the papers, but yeah. So that's that story.
So, do you have a favorite song from Kamikaze?
Oh wow, that's a really good question. Honestly, I like Mixed Emotions the most, and the only reason is because I'm the one who made the album, and when I made that song, I was the most hype about that. I remember when I made that, I was sitting there, I was like, oh my gosh, this shit's going crazy. Because I had these like really expensive studio speakers in just my room. Because I recorded Mixed Emotions in like this small basement that I was living in King. Because I had all my studio equipment, because we just got kicked out of the studio. So I had all the equipment in my room. So I was like, I guess I'm going to drink and record. I'd never drunk and record before. And that was the first song I ever made while I was like drunk in my room. And it was that's why I made it like that. Because I was like feeling free. I was feeling great. Mm-hmm. I was like, I got my studio shit in my room. I feel awesome. And yeah, that's how that song came about. But that's definitely my favorite, because it's just the most versatile, especially on that project.
Mm-hmm. How would you describe your sound to somebody that hasn't heard you before?
I always describe it, because I've had this question asked me so many times, because I always tell people I make music, and the first question is always, what kind? And for me, it's always hard for me to describe that, because I have such a versatile sound. But I always end up saying melodic rap is what I say, because I don't like to say rap, because it's just such a broad genre. Mm-hmm. I say melodic because I know when I record, I do try to hit a lot more melodic notes when I'm singing or rapping. I always try to keep a certain sound and tone through them. So I always think melodic rap, but it varies. I mean, you've heard Kamikaze, it varies. Mm-hmm. But that just feels like the best span, because I'm also trying to include all my older songs that are also my more known songs, like, Forgive and Regret, Better, 50 Cent, for all the OG Nocturnal Day fans. So yeah, I also have a lot more ground and melodic.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, rap's weird these days. I love it, but like all these different genres are kind of like merging into it or coming out of it. So it's not just straight rap anymore, but it's also not, you don't hear straight pop anymore either. It's been mixed into, that. So yeah, I like how, there's all these different sounds.
It's definitely it's like hybrid genres. It's like a hybrid of a genre.
Yeah.
And it's cool to have, because it's expanding the culture, and it's a new genre for new artists to pioneer. But at the same time, sometimes you just want to go back to the old days.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I used to listen to a lot of alternative music growing up. So now I'm hearing that in the rap and, mixed together. And
well, that's what inspires my stage presence a lot. I don't think were you at the first Summer in the Carolinas?
I was there, but I missed some performances because I was kind of in the back just chilling.
Okay. Because that's where I thought I met you at. And
I don't know if we've met in person, but I don't know how we started following each other. Probably just from
because of John or 40 or because you've had a lot of my homies on here.
Yeah, we have a lot of mutuals on Instagram too. So who knows? I'll go back and look at our first message.
I mean, it's okay, but yeah, I forgot what we were talking about.
We were talking about Summer in the Carolinas at one point.
No, yeah, I was leading to something, but I forgot what I was leading to.
Okay, so if there was a zombie apocalypse, what would your plan be?
Oh man, go to where's Austin from? Wisconsin. Go to Wisconsin to my boy Austin. He told us about 2 days ago he was in town. He's like, oh, if the world ever goes to shit, you can come to my house because he has a bunker, and like he's like been preparing for this.
That's smart, but how would you get there?
On horseback, just to be different.
Have you rode a horse before?
Never.
Okay.
But in end times, I feel like you just get it. Okay, it's the end of the world. I have to know how to do this.
Yeah. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder about that. I have my dog, so I'm like, I have to keep her, and hopefully she doesn't get bit. And
you better turn into a damn, hunting dog.
She'll attack. Make her attack. She can be kind of aggressive, but not really. She's like a little, I think she's a pit mix or a staffy mix, but she's small, like around like this size. And she's usually like sleeping all curled up, like really cute. But, I've seen her, when she wakes up from a bad dream, she's pretty vicious.
I want a beagle.
Oh, those are cute. I used to want one.
Yeah, we do Rover, or more specifically, she does Rover, and I just bum at the house that we go to. But she does Rover, and we Rover sat these two beagles. It was two beagles or three? Two. Well, I don't know what Sadie was. But yeah, we dog sat these two beagles, and the whole time they are just the most cuddly dogs. And like I loved it. Like, and they were such pretty colors too. It was like a light brown and a white. And I was like, this is the dog that I want.
Yeah, beagles are so cute. I used to want one, but then my parents or my dad was like, they howl and make the.
Yeah, we can't have that if we have a townhome, so I don't think our neighbor would enjoy that. But with how loud he bumps his speakers, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, I have some neighbors where I'll hear their dogs barking a lot.
A lot.
We have this one dog. He's gotten better, but he's a puppy, and we can see him from the balcony.
Yeah.
My boyfriend calls him Mitchell, but his name's not Mitchell. But I think it's Ozzy or something, or Oz. But he looks like a Mitchell.
That's so funny. That's so funny. We dog sat one dog, and it was like the roughest, toughest like pit mix, and I named it. What did I name it? What was? It was like Gangster or something. I named something like, I was like, Gangster, because he just looked like a tough dude. And then his name was Tinkerbell.
Oh my god!
But he also like fucked up our house. Like he ripped open the dog gate because he was scared of a thunderstorm that happened. So he ripped open the dog gate. What else did he rip up? The door frame. He ripped up our door frame that we're probably gonna have to pay when our lease is up now. But he ripped up the door frame. So I was like, this dog's a gangster. I was like, he's straight fucking up my house, and he's not even from here. So
he's just a visitor.
Yeah, like he's a visitor. I'm trying to give him a place to stay, and he's fucking up my well-being. So I named him Gangster, but then we had friends over and they started calling him Gangster, and Kinsey, my girlfriend, was like, his name is Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell. What a cute name, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took care of a dog once. He was this big. He looked like a hippo. He was definitely like some kind of pit mix. He was missing an eye. He was the sweetest thing. His name was Bogart. We called him
Bogart.
Yeah, we called him Big Boy.
Big boy. Big boy Bogart.
It was the sweetest. I hope he's doing well because he was like being
Love to you,
fostered at the
Bogart.
time. Yeah, shout out to Bogart.
Yeah.
And he walked the slowest too.
Oh
He was
my
such a
gosh.
slow walker. But yeah, he was cute.
That's cute.
So if you could live anywhere, where would you live?
Probably Sicily, Italy.
Have you been?
No, I'm going on my honeymoon. But I am Italian, mainly Italian. So I want to go to Italy, and I wouldn't mind living there. Shit's going down in America right now. I'm trying to get out.
Yeah. Yeah, the last person I interviewed, I talked to this girl over Zoom a couple of days ago, and her family's from Italy too, and she was saying she wanted to go there. She's never been.
Yeah, all you got to worry about there is like the mafia, and
I never hear about too much.
You're not supposed to.
down there.
You're not supposed to. That's the thing.
I went to France recently, and
You went to France?
Yeah.
Wow, I've been to Bangkok, but never France.
I want to go there. I went with my mom, and her sister's living there now.
Oh,
so
wow.
we visited her and went around, took the train. But it was really cool because, it was our first time being over there.
Yeah, no, totally.
But, we were close to Italy. We were near Nice, and I looked up Italy, and it was like an hour drive or so.
Could you see the Eiffel Tower? I think that's what everyone is wondering.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is this? Does it smell as much as people say it smells?
It didn't smell. There was hella people, and people trying to talk to you.
What?
And trying to sell you shit, or they asked if we're American, if we speak English, and we're like, no.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to get us to sign some petition thing. But
Like
then,
the people in New York do.
Yeah.
They come up to you like picture.
Times Square, yeah. And then they had it was kind of cool where you could sit down outside of the Eiffel Tower and picnic. Where you're sitting, there's people walking around. Yeah. We had to ignore them, but they had wine, and they were selling wine and whatever else in buckets, and they're just walking around like, they're pretty persistent. Like we saw them, make some sales off of people, like just starting to talk to them, like like beautiful ladies, like here's some wine.
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was a cool experience.
Yeah, that sounds dope.
So, what or who inspires you to keep moving forward?
Definitely the ones that I've lost and everyone who has believed in me. I have a lot more people that support me than I really can mentally capacitate, even just in my hometown and in my own everyday life. So definitely the people that have relied on me, because it's not just me relying on me. Like I had a really nice fan. I'm not going to say his name, but I know who he is. He knows who he is. But he sent me a screenshot of one of my songs, and he said, "I just want you to know that this song saved my life tonight." And it's a little thing, because it was like a year and a half ago that it happened. But that's the thing that I was like, okay, well, even if I don't get hella plays, if I don't get 1 million plays, at least I did something that has had some sort of impact on at least one person. And that's enough, because if I could replicate that again for somebody else, but I didn't, I would feel bad. And because I do get enjoyment from doing that, because every song that I do make is genuine therapy for me. And I do speak my real emotions on, the songs that I do have, especially the more emotional, real ones. So those are real feelings that I've dealt with and felt. So connecting with other people and another person, a fan of mine or a potential fan, or even just somebody who hears my song for the first time, if they just hear it and they're like, I feel that, I'm going through that. That's what I want. That's my goal, and that's enough for me.
Yeah, that's what I find so beautiful about music, is it's able to touch people in different ways.
Yeah.
One thing for me, one reason why I love music so much is even if I, don't happen to relate to, a certain song, I can see what someone else is going through and understand their pain and, their perspective, because we all are, we all go through similar experiences, but we also go through completely different things. And, music is a great way to just learn about other people.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like I said, it's a universal language for real.
So do you have any all-time favorite music artist?
Skillet. That's the one, Skillet. What I was gonna say earlier, but my brain, my ADHD made me forget, was a lot of my live performance. That's why I brought up Summer in the Carolinas. A lot of my live performances and how I am on stage and how I interact with the crowd is inspired by rock performances, specifically Skillet and Red and Shinedown and Godsmack and all the dad rock bands, because not many people know this, but my father, he was a very professional and well-known Muay Thai fighter. He was an alternate on Ultimate Fighter Season 12 for the UFC, and he was running with that crowd, and he's pretty well-known in the fight world. So because of that, I went to my first, MMA fight at 2 weeks old. Got ringworm in my arm. So yeah, it's terrible, because my dad's told me, he's like, yeah, I just gave you to my guy in my corner. I was in the corner at 2 weeks old, So I grew up traveling with my dad to fights. That's why we went to Bangkok, was for fights that my dad had. So because of that, I grew up around rock a lot, very heavily. And in 2011, I think it was, Skillet, which was the first live show I ever went to. My dad had a fight in Winston-Salem, which is where I'm from, and Skillet was performing in Winston-Salem after the fight. And I had heard like their song Hero or Monster or something at the time, which was like one of their most popular songs. And but I just heard it for the first time as a middle schooler. So I went there, I was all excited and had my Skillet shirt on, and we sat cage side, and so we had a good seat and all that. And my dad went, did his thing. I don't know if he was training a fighter or if he fought, but it was one of the two, because he trains fighters now. But after the fights, they started performing, and they killed it. The crowd control killed it. Like the way John Cooper, which is the lead singer, is just able to talk to the crowd but make you feel like he's only talking to you. I was like, that's an art in and of itself. And so it got to the point where I wouldn't just listen to their music. I would listen to their full hour-long live music sets in middle school and in high school. Like if I was working, like, how sometimes a teacher would be like, okay, class, do your homework and listen to your music. Well, I would put my headphones in and listen to hour-long Skillet live performances. And so that mentally, even before I started making music, implanted this art of crowd control, talk to the crowd, make the crowd feel like you're just talking to that one person. That already implanted that in my head. And influences my live performances very heavily, and what I'm thinking when I make a song. Because when I make a song, in my head, I'm already envisioning me performing it and how I'm going to be able to look on stage when I'm performing it and interact with the crowd and make it look from a live perspective. Like I'm already thinking about that when I'm recording it. So that's it, Skillet mainly, but that's why, a lot of rock and alternative rock has influenced me very much in that way.
Have you gotten nervous at all performing?
Yeah, I did. I had this show like 2 years ago, and also it was Winston, but it was like this, I think the DJ from 102 Jams was there, and I was really that was the main person. I was like, okay, I got to try to impress him, because I was like I think I was 17, 18, and I was just I got added on at the last minute. I think Shy from Detroit was there, it was Shy from Detroit, 52 Paco, just a big Winston artist. And I did my song Wild West and my song Riot, and I was really nervous to be there because it was on like I think it was the west side. I don't know where it was in Winston, but it was somewhere where like I told my family I was there, and they were like, that's not a safe part of town. So I already didn't feel safe because when we got there, I think when we pulled in, there was already like, I think it was a homeless person that was like staring us down when we were waiting at the light. And I was like, I already feel uncomfortable. then we got there and it was really late, and I was young at the time. I think I was under 18 because I had to not tell my parents I was there because they found out after the fact. That's why they said I wasn't in a safe part of town. But I got in trouble for it. It was pretty big. but yeah, so obviously I'm not as slick as I thought. but yeah, so I already didn't feel safe, and I got there, and the only people that I thought knew me there were the two people who booked me to perform, which were Terrence and Tyrone. A shout out to them if they're watching this as well. But yeah, so I was like, nobody's gonna know me here. Like I didn't feel like it was my crowd. Like I was like, this is gonna be a terrible performance. And I got up there and started performing, and I just for some reason when I start performing, all the nervousness just gets pushed aside. Like my brain just autopilots, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's storming out.
Wow. So sorry about that, y'all. I just saw like a tornado in our rear view. but yeah, what was I talking about? That really threw me off. That was
You were
scary.
talking about performing.
Yeah, I thought that was a tornado, honestly. Did that not sound like?
It was a little scary.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so it just gets pushed aside, though. All my nervousness gets pushed aside, and I did the performance, and when I did Riot, I actually heard people in the crowd singing along. So that immediately made it get taken away. Because once I hear one person singing along, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm chill. At least this person here vouches for me. What's up, dude? How you doing tonight?
So, is there any song, album, or artist that you've been listening to on repeat recently?
Yes. Danny just dropped a new album. Shout out, Danny. Danny Towers dropped a new album, Safe House with Scheme. I've had that whole thing on repeat, and my boy Nevi just dropped his EP, Genesis, and it is beautiful. It is timeless, and that was he said that was his goal for that release. So shout out those two. I've had both of their projects on repeat. I mainly listen to people I've worked with and people that I'm homies to. I listen to my homies a lot, and so that's who I listen to the most.
Do you have any favorite people that you like to collab with?
Yeah. Every time me and Munch make a song together, it's always a hit. I don't think me and Munch have missed a single time. Because we have 2 unreleased songs still. Wow, that's bad.
I have to believe in that.
And Nevi, definitely Nevi. I think I've worked with Nevi the most actually over the years. Because if you go back on my old catalogs, I think Nevi's been on almost every single one of my projects. I think there was only one that he wasn't on. So and that wasn't even on purpose. That's just because I work with him so damn much, or I used to back earlier, and now we only have like one unreleased song left. But well, you heard that. But yeah, so definitely those two.
So you said Nevi was the one that also released the album recently?
Yeah, his album Genesis. It's a neo soul album for him, which he's I think that's his new sound he's trying to go for, but he's really, really good at that. Because I'm used to Nevi being like this, like he used to rap mainly and do like melodic rap, but then he released Invoice, and which is definitely more like a slower. I'd say neo soul. I don't have the best definition of neo soul, but from my understanding of it, I take that as neo soul. And then he dropped a song with Kyle, which was a really good song called How You Been. And then he just kept dropping banger after banger, and then it definitely leaned him more into the singing side, R&B aspect, and he's doing amazing at it.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna
definitely
have to check him out.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's on Mixed Emotions.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So I know that I'm gonna like him.
yeah. He's on Mixed Emotions.
So what is one thing that annoys you?
When people come into work 30 minutes before close. Like, dude, you're trying
at
to
a restaurant.
at my restaurant that I work at specifically. So yeah, like, dude, the kitchen closes in like 15. What you want? Like, what you want, guy?
Yeah, I used to when I worked at I was a cashier at a amusement park for food. And so people would always, right, before it would close, last minute, be running in, grabbing stuff, and
Like that's just so extra.
and then Yeah, we'd have to wait because we'd have to like sweep up everything and all that. That takes more time to get out of there. So it's never like exactly on the time that you're supposed to get out when you're closing.
No. I think I got off at 10 last night. Well, 10's when we close, but I didn't get out of work till like 11. And it's not even like, a lot of it was just me not having time to do any of my side work because of how many people come in so close. I got like a 5-6 top sat like I think 5 minutes before we closed the doors, like for seating, because we closed the doors 30 minutes before we closed to seat.
Wow.
So like they showed up 5 minutes before that time, and I was the last person to get a table, of course. But yeah.
Yeah, I would hate that a lot.
It was definitely. I mean, I would say though, at the end of the day, it is more money. It's nothing to complain about, but it's just
unless
it's
they
just
do
like,
that,
come
don't
on.
tip you well.
It's no. That's what I like about the place I work is if it's over 5, it's instant gratuity.
Oh, okay.
So
So
not many places do it like that.
Yeah.
So
what does the perfect day look like to you?
honestly, what you're looking at outside, like I love. Yeah. No, I'm so serious. Like she's turned me into such a homebody. Like we are such homebodies now. We just want to stay inside and weather like this, smoke a blunt, get a glass of wine. Like I didn't drink wine a year ago. Like,
I've been big on wine recently.
Yeah.
It's so nice, like just at home,
Yeah. Wine drunks are different than like like a sunrise drunk.
Yeah, I like this weather, but I noticed recently, I didn't realize until this weather's been coming recently that my dog is afraid of thunder, and she'll be shaking so bad. She was shaking so bad yesterday, and I'd be like hugging her, and she's still shaking. I'm like, what's wrong? Like, chill out.
I didn't know that. Wow. Well, we don't have a dog at the house yet. Hopefully, we only have a cat, but we're not dog sitting at the moment. But a lot of dogs are scared of thunder, I think.
Yeah, my mom's dog is too, but she adopted her, and I think she originally came from Puerto Rico or somewhere where there was hurricanes, and that was the whole reason like she came over here, and I think she got found saving her puppies from like a river that was flooding.
Yeah.
So yeah, she does not like the thunder.
Nah, it's very peaceful for me because we have we have the master bedroom, and we open our windows in weather like this because we have a creek in our backyard and it gets overflown. So it's like
nice.
it's really pretty and it sounds great. I like to open the windows in weather like this.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Oh yeah.
So is there any other plans that you have regarding music for the rest of the year?
Yeah. I just released Call Me with Big Baby Gucci, and the guy that I've been talking to who's helping me with that release, I really want my Spotify to look good, so I'm waiting till I push Call Me to get like 30K. I feel comfortable to move on. And with Spotify, you can't just buy numbers. You're not supposed to, and they'll catch you if you do it. So I plus you should never want to buy numbers. You should want your streams to be organic. So it's a hit or miss on if you're gonna get plays or not. You just got to get playlisted. So I'm putting a lot of money behind like playlisting campaigns and all that for Spotify, and just trying to get more attention on that. And so that's going to be my main focus for the next few months. But by the end of the year, I would like to release something that I've been working hard on, which I haven't announced yet. So I guess this is me announcing it. But Nocturnal Volume 2. I'm making a sequel to Nocturnal, just going back to those types of roots. Because as much as I liked making Kamikaze and I love that sound, a lot of my more like well-received sound is the sound that I did on Nocturnal. And it is a way more real album, very more emotionally driven, a lot better wordplay, not as like trying so hard with the TikTok sounds and all that, like trying to get a coherent rap song. It's more definitely melodic. I like Forgive and Regret style, Better, 50 Cent, all that. And there's still a few, rap ones on there, same way Nocturnal was. Like, Nocturnal wasn't fully melodic. There was a few rap ones on there as well. So that's what I'm going to replicate on this one.
Do you have any questions for me?
Do you have a favorite guest? Let's make this awkward.
I can't pick a favorite guest.
I think you can. Let's make some shots.
You, of course.
Oh, okay. I'll take it back.
But,
It's the right answer.
Yes. Every interview, the next person's my favorite.
True. That's smart. Okay. I guess this is a better question then. Who is somebody you haven't interviewed yet that you would want to? It can be anyone. It can be George Washington. It could be, a homeless dude.
I don't know.
'Cause that'd be interesting. Get like a homeless dude's story off the side of the street. Like, hey, you want to come tell your story?
I probably would do that, but I don't know.
I'm sorry. My brain just thinks of ideas like that. I just had that
They
idea.
have some stories.
No, they really do, for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. Now you got me on the spot. It's like I have a lot of people I'm planning on interviewing, but now I'm trying to think like who do I not have planned that I'd want to.
Like the dream guest, like hey, Grace, you can do an episode with this person.
Okay, I'm gonna pick YNW Melly.
Oh, that'd be quite the like post post trial. Like,
right after.
Melly, how are we feeling after the results today?
Like, tell me the truth. That'd be interesting.
That'd be. I would tune into that. I'd buy to see that.
Oh yeah,
interview.
I'm excited to see like if he does get out, like his first interview after getting
That's
out.
gonna go crazy.
Good.
Yeah. And guess who's gonna be there?
Me. Yeah, it's gonna be me.
Yeah.
But anyways, I appreciate you allowing me to interview you.
Absolutely.
This is a good time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anybody that's watching, like, subscribe, comment. Go check out his music, Kamikaze.
Hey.
Kamikaze
Kamikaze
music,
Click.
Nocturnal.
Yes.
And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for watching.
Okay, I'm just gonna end this.
I get high when I feel low. Ease my mind while I get stoned. On my mind, do I feel cold? You're all that I have, but when I'm sober, 'cause some think I'm